And we're back on the Cougar Sports Network. Parker Kelly, Troy Pratley overcoming a couple of technical difficulties, but we are all set. The Cougars leading 5-1. Now it'll be cut to 5-2 as Marian getting that last point. And serving for the Sabres, number 12, Reagan Jessica, the senior out of Chicago, Illinois, will handle service duties for the Sabres. The serve up and over the net, played by Haywood. Vernengo setting up Brown. Sabres able to get under it. Vernengo again. And that's going to be a point for the Cougars off the hands of Rachel Livesay. Able to find that sweet spot in the zone. Now Livesay back to serve for the Cougars. That's played by the Sabres. Cougars not able to get to that one, and Marian responds with a point of their own.
And that's Olivia Buell, like we talked about in our pregame show. A really big piece for Marian, and that was her first good swing of the night and gets Marian up to 7-2 now.
Now Caitlin Merrill to handle serving duties for the Sabres. Brown a little strong on that one. That's going to result in a Sabres point. So CUC trailing 8-2 here in set number one. Not a good start for the Cougars as that's a ball handling error by Livesay. Marian lead extending to 7 points. They lead 9-2.
A couple early mistakes here from the Cougars. They look a little bit out of sorts as we start this one, but that'll help. Right there, it's service error, and it'll give the Cougs the ball.
Service error by the Sabres. Cougars trying to make their way back into this one, trailing by 6. And now serving for the Cougars is number 6, Bethany Rothel, the libero. That's going to result in a Sabres point. So the Sabres leading the Cougars again by 7. Their first team to hit double-digit points here in set number one. Back to serve for Marian was number 27, Lauren Massey. Haywood, a strong attack. That's played by Marian. Livesay not able to get under it completely as it goes into the visiting side bleachers. Marian extending their lead.
A good swing there by number 2, Serena Pahowski, one of those double-digit kill leaders for Marian last time out against Edgewood.
And CUC going to stop the bleeding a little bit, get that lead back down to 7 as senior number 7, Isabel Vernengo, back to serve for the first time in set one. Vernengo, serve is up and over. That's played by Marian. That swing from Pahowski, like you were just talking about, Troy. Sabres get point number 12.
Not a great start here for the Cougar. Just as we look at the stats, Marian has 4 players in a positive hitting percentage versus the Cougars, who have 3 in the negative hitting percentage right now, and that's a big reason why they trailed 12-4, and that won't help right there.
And the Cougars not able to get that one over the net. Just not the start you want if you're first-year head man Andrew Palmer. Team is down 4-13 here in set one. That's played by Rothal.
We might get a timeout here.
Wouldn't be shocked, and we are going to get first timeout of the set is called by CUC and Coach Palmer. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break up here on the broadcast as well. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
Hey Cougar fans, thanks for tuning into today's game. For more information about the women's volleyball program, head to cucougars.com. We hope to see you at our next game.
Uh-oh.
And coming out of the timeout break called by Coach Palmer, CUC trailing the Sabres 14-4. And one thing that I wanted to point out, Troy, was I love Coach Palmer's timeout approach where he allows his team to talk it over for the first few seconds, then he interjects what he wants to say.
Absolutely, and allows the players to kind of come together and see, all right, this is what's going on the court. Let's see if we can fix this before Coach Palmer comes in and shares what he has to say.
Coach Palmer, such a player's coach in his first year. That attack a little strong. Sabres really extending their lead. They now lead by double digits here in set one. They lead by 11. That serve is up and over. Vernango trying to set up Haywood, and that's off of Marian's number 7, Caitlin Merrill. CUC gets their 5th point of the set.
Yeah, and that's what the Cougars have to do. They've got to set up Grace Haywood. She's an awesome player for the Cougars and one that you need to be successful if the team wants to be successful. And that was the second good swing we've seen from Haywood as she serves that one into the net. Serve back to Marian.
Service error from Grace Haywood. Coming into today, she actually leads the team in service aces with 39, also leads in service errors with 44. She gets the service error, her first of the night. That's played by Haywood off the Marian serve, setting up Livesay. Marian able to play it. They've done a nice job defensively here in the early stages of set one. Now Haywood a little strong once again. Haywood has struggled to kind of find that rhythm that she's used to starting out with. She's had a couple strong attacks.
Yeah, one of those, awkward little bit swinging from the 10-foot line. Looks like she caught a little bit high on the arc and couldn't finish the swing all the way down.
That's played by the Cougars as Hunt was able to tip that one over the net. Good block up front by the duo, Eve Dickin and Lily Hunt. The Cougars trailing by 11 still here in set number 1, and that'll send Hunt back to serve for the Cougars. As her serve, a line drive right over the net, played by Marian. Attack from Merrill, but blocked up front again by Dickin and Acacia Brown. First time we've mentioned her tonight. Cougars not able to find it. Marian going to continue to pound it on here in set 1. As we get a couple of substitutions for the Sabres into the game comes number 22, Olivia Bolt, and number 24, Andrea Miller, who's actually set to serve for Marian. Her serve is up and over, played by Haywood. Vernango setting up Livesay. Good block up front by Marian. And now Merrill just sends a floater over the net. Livesay, that cross-court attack, just able to sneak inside. Good accuracy right there from Rachel Livesay.
That one looked like it fell right on the line. Line judge there points it in. Marian's bench wanted it out, but they don't get the call.
I actually thought from our viewpoint up here that it was going to be out, but sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. And CUC with another point off an error by Marian. Trying to climb back in this thing here in the first set as Dickin back to serve for the Cougars. That's set up for Bartels. So another point by CUC. They're now trailing by single digits. So it's trying to go on a little bit of a run. Coming out of the timeout, Dickin with the serve. Trying to set up Merrill once again. Cougars not able to play it. And once again, Marian leading by double digits.
Yeah, now if you're the Cougars, in order to get back into this first set here, you kind of got to go 3 points for every Marian 1 point to get your way back in here, as they only have 6 to go versus the Cougars 16.
Some good quick math by you, Troy. Vernango setting up Acacia Brown, and that's able to find home. Nice attack from number 1, Acacia Brown, the junior out of Addison, Illinois. And now Livesay. Her serve a little strong and out of bounds, so another service error by the Cougars. And now Marian 5 points away from that magic number of 25. as Merrill's serve is up and over. Vernango, out attack by Brown once again strong. Now that's point number 21 for the Sabres.
Looked like Acacia Brown a little bit hesitant there. Wasn't sure if she was just going to go for a tip or a swing and ended up floating that one all the way across and out of bounds.
Dig by Haywood. Vernango with the attack, a rarity by her. And now she's setting up Haywood, and Haywood doing her thing. That's point number 11 for the Cougars. They're still down big as they're trying to go on a run. And that'll send number 6, Bethany Rothel, the libero for the Cougars, back to serve. That's played by Jessica. Marian trying to get it over. The attack from Bull, no good. So the Cougars now trailing by 9.
See if the Cougars freshman libero here can get them on a little bit of a run here.
That serve by Rothel is over. Now the attack from Merrill. Vernango setting up Haywood again. That one goes out of bounds. Marian 3 points away from closing out set 1. We're going to get a couple more substitutions. Into the game comes number 4, Haley Stitch, sophomore out of Cuba City, Wisconsin.
Parker, the Cougars have a really balanced lineup here. They've got 2 seniors with Vernango and Haywood, 2 freshmen, Livesay and Rothel, and then a junior in Eve Dickin and a sophomore in Lily Hunt. So a really balanced lineup here for the Cougars in set 1.
Very balanced approach. Love the lineup from Palmer, and it's led by Vernango and Haywood. Vernango actually back to serve. Her second time she's handling service duties here in the set. As that set is over, that's played by Merrill. Now that Marian with the strong attack, that is Serena Pahowski making her presence felt. She's had a great first set.
Yeah, the block a little bit too far off the net there, and so when the ball made contact with Haywood, fell just out of bounds, short of the net.
That's now Pahowski's 3rd kill here in the set as CUC able to get on the board with point number 14. Now 5th-year senior Grace Haywood back to serve. Haywood, her serve is up and over, and that's a reception error by Caitlin Merrill. CUC trailing by 8. So Haywood back to serve for the 2nd time in a row. That's a line drive into the net, a service error, her 2nd service error of the set. And now Marian is 1 point away from taking set 1. And back to serve is number 9, Anna Tapia. And she's able to close out set 1 as Marian takes the first set 25-15. Troy, it was a rough start for the Cougars, really struggled to find a rhythm early. What were your takeaways from that set?
Well, you're right. The Cougars fell down in a hole early on. They were down 7-1 to open that first set. And it's kind of the story of the match, really. They never really were able to climb back in. But one thing that stands out looking at the stats from set 1 is that hitting percentage. The Cougars at negative .087, and Marian is at .250, so a large difference there in hitting percentage, and that's really why Marian was able to dominate that first set. They're getting good sets and good swings on balls that the Cougars were just not able to do.
And Marian's kill leader is Serena Pahowski. She had 3 in that first set, the senior out of West Allis, Wisconsin. And for the Cougars, Grace Haywood with the 2 kills also had 3 errors in that first set. So not the best set we've seen from her, and Rachel Livesay also with 2 kills. But we're getting ready to head to set 2. We'll take a quick break on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougars trailing 1 set to none.
Foundation. We love the support you give us on and off the field. To donate to our athletic communications department, hit the thank you button below. This helps us continue to have the best live stream possible for some great Cougar volleyball moments. Thank you and enjoy the game.
We would like to thank Westgate Flower and Plant Shop in Oak Park for their donation of flowers for tonight's event. We have their business cards and more information in the front lobby at the Dig Pink table. It is Dig Pink night here in Geisman Gymnasium, as we see a bunch of fans decked out in their pink. Troy and I both wearing gray and pink shirts. So just a quick recap. Marian taking set one over CUC 25-15, and Troy, you pointed out the hitting percentages. Marian with a 250 hitting percentage. Meanwhile, the Cougars in the negatives with a negative 0.87. What are the Cougars going to have to do in set two to turn things around?
Well, the other thing we didn't really talk about all that much in the first set was the errors, and Marian with only 4. The Cougars double that number with 8 errors in the first set. So that's something we're going to look for the Cougars to control here and kind of bring that number less than 5. I think if they can get it under 5, they'll be in a good chance to win this second set, And for Marian, if you're Marian, you're coming out of that timeout kind of thinking, hey, we just did it once. Let's go out and do it again and kind of not think about it too much. Just go out and play the volleyball that they showed they can play in that first set, and they'll look to be successful here in the second set.
And this is a Marian team who we mentioned in the pregame is very solid. Came into today sitting at 7th in the conference with a 13-10 record. We mentioned their loss at Edgewood College in their last outing. But the Cougars sitting at 9th, so trailing 2 spots by the Sabres, coming in with a 10-13 record. So the Cougars looking to turn things around, and they need a win here in set 2 as we are underway. As Vernango setting up Livesey. Marian able to play a nice play by number 24, Andrea Miller. Vernango now. Hunt setting up Livesey. That's played by Marian. CUC keeping it alive as Livesey's attack is too strong, and Marian is going to get the first point of the set.
A good little volley there to start the set. If you're the Cougars, you kind of like that. Get your feet wet a little bit into the second set. And a couple good swings there for the Cougars. So not an entirely bad start, even though Marian does get the first point here. The serve will be right to left.
And CUC not able to get to that one. So already trailing 2-0 here in the second set. They're looking to turn things around, and you mentioned the errors that occurred in the first half, but you mentioned also CUC has 2 seniors in Vernango and Hunt to really kind of turn the tide of the ship. As Livesey's attack blocked up front by Marian. Good block as well in return by Acacia Brown. Vernango not able to play that one. Marian continuing to build on their lead.
Yeah, now for you, the Cougars, you just really got to get that first point of this match. Last time they fell behind 5-0 before making it 7-1. So you really would like to just get the first point on the board and limit that early lead for the Sabres to start set 2.
And now that's played by Acacia Brown. The attack from Livesey. Setting up Serena Pahowski. Too strong, and CUC gets their first point of the set.
There it is, right on cue, Parker. All we had to do was talk about it. It was going to happen, eh?
Definitely called that one out as Eve Dickin back to serve. Her serve is over, not able to be played by the Sabres, and that's 2 straight points for the Cougars. Nice play by the Cougars off the serve from Dickin. Caught Marian off guard as they weren't able to play it, and now Dickin back to serve again, and a service ace by Eve Dickin ties things up here in set 2.
3 straight points there for the Cougars. Brings Geisman Memorial Gymnasium a little bit to life here.
And a big attack up front, Acacia Brown. Cougars take the lead 4-3.
And Parker, it looks like we've got the entire CUC football team over here on the left side. Could be making an impact tonight.
Geisman Gymnasium, one of the hardest gyms to play at when there are fans in the stands. Football team definitely has to be making an impact as Marian gets their 4th point. They tie things up here in set 2, and that'll send Caitlin Merrill back to serve for Marian. As her serve is over, that's played by Livesay, and now setting up Acacia Brown. She gets her 2nd kill here in set 2.
Yeah, it looked like Marian was a little bit out of position there. They had really nobody in this back left part of the court, and I'm not sure that the blocking scheme was covering that there, so a little maybe miscommunication from Marian there allowed a Cougar point.
So a very different start by the Cougars. Started out sluggish in the first set, but they've really found their rhythm here in set 2. Just got to keep it going as Haywood's attack is over and not played by Marian. And CUC leading by 2, 6-4.
And the difference already in this set is you see the pressure that's being put on by the Cougars. It's swing after swing after swing, and Marian's not set up defensively, and a lot of these are being tipped out of bounds and not being playable for Marian. So the Cougars doing a nice job of applying pressure here early.
And that's blocked up front by Haywood and Acacia Brown. CUC now building off of their lead as they lead by 3, and that'll send Livesay back to serve for the maroon and gold. A little too strong, so a service error by Livesay. Marian now set to serve, and that'll be number 7, Caitlin Merrill. Or excuse me, no, substitution made by Marian. It'll be number 27, Lauren Massey. Not able to be played by Rothall. And now Marian chipping away at this Cougar lead. They trail by 1.
Quick break here in the action to get a shoe tied.
It happens, definitely happens. Massey set to serve for the 2nd straight time. That's over and played by Haywood. Vernango setting up Brown. That's blocked up front by Pahowski. Haywood just has to send that one over just beyond that backcourt line. Marian ties things up.
Regardless of what happens here in this 2nd set, the Cougars are definitely playing a much cleaner match up to this point. It's definitely a positive you take away.
The difference is they're now in a positive hitting percentage. They were in a negative percentage the entirety of that first set. The big difference is Marian now retaking the lead 8-7. Massey still back to serve for the Sabres. Now Vernango sets up Brown. That goes off of the net, and Marian leading by 2 here in the 2nd set.
Looks like the call was 4 touches there, so they're going to say that there was no block touch.
As Coach Palmer coming over to have a word with his team. Looked like he wanted to say something to Bethany Rothel.
I think we've got some blood.
Believe so, as Bethany Rothel heads over to the CUC athletic training staff to get checked out. We'll take a quick break in the action. Marian leading CUC 9-7. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
We appreciate you tuning into today's game. To stay up to date on all things CUC women's volleyball, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CUC_volleyball. We'll see you on campus soon.
And we're back in set number 2 as we had to get a jersey change by Bethany Rothel. She's now in a gold jersey as compared to a white, and that's over by Haywood. Marian trying to play it. Vernango setting up Haywood. Good block up front, the duo, number 9, Anna Tapia, and number 2, Serena Pahowski. Big block up front by the Sabres.
Yeah, good start coming out of that long break for the Cougars, just what you needed to get back into this one.
And now Rothel will serve for the Cougars. Her serve is up and over. That's played by Stitch. Big attack from Pahowski, really laying down the hammer for Marian.
Yeah, blockers couldn't quite get over there and up in time. They were still on their way up when the ball went over the net. And that's tough as a defender. You know, you expect some of those places to be covered by the blocks, and that's a good example of it working the other way for the Cougars. The Marian blockers not getting over there to cover.
As that was off the hands of Haley Stitch. So the Cougars trailing by 1, 10-9 here in set 2 as Isabel Vernango back to serve for the maroon and gold. Her serve is up and over the net, played by Stitch. And now setting up Stitch. That attack too strong. CUC evens things up here in the second set. Vernango back to serve once again. The serve up and over. Now setting up Stitch. Vernango has to think quick on her feet, and Dickin, her attack is overplayed by Marian. Livesay decides not to touch it. Wise decision as CUC retaking the lead 11-2.
Yeah, couldn't tell if Rachel Livesay there intentionally didn't hit that one, but it worked out for the Cougars in the end.
Worked out in their favor for sure as Vernango's serve is over. And now Stitch, Livesay not able to play it. And now it's Marian who ties things up here in the second set, 11-11, as we heard the chants from the football team.
Yeah. Sounded like they were saying no every time Marian touched the ball there, and now we're going to get some screams and some stomping.
That's played by Haywood. Vernango setting up Dickin. That's played by number 12, Reagan Jessica. Stitch sends that one over. And now Vernango setting up Hunt. That's played by Marian. We had a nice rally for a second, but CUC is going to come out on top as they retake the lead 12-11. And now Haywood back to serve for the Cougars. Her serve is up and over, played by Jessica. Now that's Rothel. Vernango setting up Livesay. That's off the hands of number 9, Anna Tapia. Goes towards the visitor side bleachers. Almost hits our assistant athletic communications director, Sydney Pulaskis-Laher. But the Cougars lead by 2.
Well, she was a softball player back in her day many, many years ago. So I think she played first base too, so she'd have caught that one.
As Marian trying to cut into the lead a little bit. They trail by 1 as they get that last point. They trail the Cougars 13-12. As that's number 24, Andrea Miller back to serve for Marian. That's played by Haywood. Vernango setting up Dickin. It's tipped up front by the Sabres. And now Haywood. Vernango setting up Livesay. Big block up front. That's number 7, Caitlin Merrill, and number 16, Haley Bartels, as they combine to get the block to even things up 13 apiece.
That was Marian's first block of the set. Actually, the first block of the set for either team. So all the swings so far been fairly clean. That was the first time we've seen blockers get up.
As Vernango setting up Livesay, that's kind of an awkward pass, but Marian's going to end up getting the point, retaking the lead 14-13. Troy, we've seen a lot of lead changes here in the second set.
Yeah, definitely a much more even set here than what we saw in the first set. So that's a good thing in favor of the Cougars. Maybe not so much if you're a Sabres fan listening at home.
That's played by Rothall. And now Dickin. Nice play by Miller. That one is just sent over. Vernango setting up Livesey again. Played by Marian. Nice little rally going on. Vernango. Now Haywood. She just has to get that one over. And a strong attack by number 7, Caitlin Merrill, as Haywood not able to get under that one.
Yeah, Cougars a little bit out of position there. The set went backwards. I'm not sure the Cougars were expecting it.
And now Marian with a 15-13 lead here in the second set as Miller's serve is out of bounds. So CUC with the point. They trail by 1 as Lily Hunt is set to serve. We hear the "you can't do that" chants from the football team, making a major impact here in the second set, giving some life to the Cougars. And now that's set up for Merrill. That's played by the Cougars. Really nice play by Dickin. As Livesey's tip is blocked up front by the Sabres. Now Dickin. Marian now tries to send that one over. That was number 6, Riley Shores, as she wasn't able to get that one over the net. And now the Cougars even things up, 15-15. Hunt. Her serve is over. That's a powerful serve as Miller wasn't able to play it, so go ahead and award a service ace to Miss Lily Hunt.
The Cougars came into this match 3rd in the conference in service aces per set with 2.26, and that's their 3rd of this set, so right above the mark that leads 3rd in the conference.
Now a strong attack by the Sabres. If I'm not mistaken, that was number 16, Haley Bartels. CUC not able to play that one. And if you're just the average fan watching this game, you got to be entertained.
Absolutely, a back and forth second set here. Geisman is alive. These teams are excited. Not much more you can ask for if you're just a volleyball fan here.
A very exciting second set as Vernango sets up Haywood. And that's an attack error by the senior. So Marian retaking the lead 17-16. It's been a back and forth affair. And now the libero for the Sabres, Reagan Jessica, set to serve. As her serve is over, squeaks past the net. And now the attack from Brown. That's set up for Merrill, and she gets that one. Another attack from Caitlin Merrill.
Yeah, and that gets Merrill tied with Bahowski for Marian, both at 5 kills here on the night, and that leads both teams here this evening.
She's tied with her teammate Serena Pahowski, 5 kills apiece, as Dickin tries to get that one over. Really nice athletic play from Haywood. Rothall has to send that one over. And now Merrill with a little floater. Not sure the Cougars were expecting that, but Livesey sends it over for the Cougars. And now we're going to get the point. 2-touch rule by the Sabres. CUC trying to even things up, pending the serve from Eve Dickin. They trail by 1. As Dickin's serve is up and over. That's a setup for Pahowski. And make that kill number 6 for Serena Pahowski.
Definitely a player you can tell Marian likes to go to here. She's got a really powerful swing.
Pahowski leading the Sabres with 189 kills coming into today's matchup. But the Cougars going to get that point. They trail by 1 as Rachel Livesey back to serve for CUC. That's a set up for Shores. Vernango to Haywood. Strong attack from her, too strong and out of bounds. As Marian gets the 20th point, they lead Concordia by 2, 5 points away from closing out set number 2. Let's see how CUC responds. As Lauren Massey That's played by Rolthal. Fernango setting up Haywood. She just has to send that one over. And now the attack from Pahowski blocked by Brown. And now Dickin. Fernango trying to set up Brown. Sabres defense all out of sorts on that one. And Brown's going to get the kill.
Little unorthodox there, maybe not what they had planned or not what they practice every day, but a kill nonetheless, and that's 1 point closer here for the Cougars tying this up.
And now Acacia Brown tied for the lead in kills for CUC respectively with 4. She's tied with Haywood, who also has 4. Cougars not able to play that one as Livesay wasn't able to get it over. And now Marian leading 21-19. That'll send Serena Pahowski once again back to serve. She'll handle the duties for Marian. That's played by Haywood. Set up for Hunt, and Hunt with a powerful attack. Showing the Cougars aren't done yet. As Isabel Fernango now to serve for Concordia. Fernango, the serve is over. Now the setup for Stitch. And that was a handling error by Fernango. Very rare by her, the senior out of Plainfield, Indiana.
Might have messed her up there. It went off the ceiling and kind of changed back course back towards her. She appeared as if she was going to go for the bump and then changed last minute to try and set it.
Now Fernango setting up Haywood, and Haywood gets the kill to pull the Cougars back within 1. Or no, they're going to award the point to Marian. So Marian now leading by 3. 2 points away from closing out the set. Service error by Tapia. Now the Cougars get the point. They trail by 2.
Yep. And it'll be Haywood to serve here. Cougars already have 3 service aces. Would use another one.
Marian somehow able to play that one as Hunt. That one was able to squeak in there for the kill.
Looked like they also called in the net there by Marian's number 16. That's Bartles.
So now Haywood back to serve. Serve is over. That's played by Marian. That one's sent over by Jessica. Fernango, the setup for Hunt. Out of bounds, out of play. So now Marian leading by 2. This is set point.
Do or die time here for the Cougars. Can't give anything else up. And Coach Palmer's going to take a timeout here.
Now the second called timeout by Coach Palmer. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break on the broadcast. It's set point as Marian leads CUC 24-22. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
Finding out more about Concordia Chicago, head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university. We appreciate you tuning in to today's game and hope to see you at CUC very soon.
And we're back on the Cougar Sports Network as Marian leading the Cougars 24-22 here in set number 2. It's set point for the Sabres, and set to serve is number 4, Haley Stitch. As we saw Coach Palmer taking the timeout. Let's see how the Cougars respond coming out of the break.
Well, you'd hope they could only respond in one way here. They don't really have another choice, so they're going to fall in set number 2 and fall behind 2-0 tonight. So this is big right here.
as the serve from Stitch is over. That's played by Haywood. Now Vernango the setup for Dickin. Marian not able to play it, so CUC staying alive a moment longer. They trail Marian 23-24. And going back to what you said, Troy, Cougars don't really have much of a choice. They have to respond. You either get the point right here or you give it to Marian, and they go up big 2-0.
Yeah, and this is the point of the set right now. You got to have it to tie it at 24 and take us to extra volleyball.
Played by Marian. And now Hunt able to get under it. Vernango setting up Livesay. Too strong of an attack. Marian takes set 2, 25-23 to get a big lead over the Cougars, 2-0. And Troy, I know you were looking at the box score during the timeout. What's something that sticks out to you?
Well, I said before we started this second set that if the Cougars would like a shot at this one, they were going to need to keep their errors to 5 or fewer, and they actually ended up with more than they had in the first set. The first set they had 8. The second set they had 10. That brings their total to 18 tonight already in just 2 sets. And so those 10 errors for the Cougars in that second set, and not what you're looking for if you're Coach Palmer, something we talked about that needed to kind of be controlled in that second set and really was not. And that was a large reason why the Cougars couldn't come away with that second set, Parker.
The Cougars have more errors than they do kills. 18 errors, 17 kills, like you said. And they, although not having a negative hitting percentage in that second set, they had a positive one, but it averages out where the Cougars do have a negative hitting percentage average out between that first and second set. Not a good look as for the Cougars. Once again, Marian taking set number 2, 25-23, leading the Cougars 2-0. We'll be back for the third set. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
And we're back as we're about a little less than a minute and a half away from the start of the third set. Marian leading the Cougars 2-0. They took set number 2, 25-23. And Troy, it was a much better set for the Cougars in set number 2. Got off to a little bit of a quicker start, didn't look as sluggish, but now they're forced to respond, have to play better in the set number 3.
Yeah, it was a little bit more of a back and forth set two there, a lot different than what we saw in the first set. So definitely a positive thing to take away for the Cougars. If you're Marian, you're coming out of this into the third set saying, hey, we're up 2-0, keep doing what we're doing, and we'll come out of this victorious. If you're the Cougars, you're saying, all right, let's throw away everything we did in the first set, use a lot more of what we did in the second set, and you'll be in good shape here heading into the third set. Again, I'm going to say it, and if we can keep the errors down if you're the Cougars to, let's just say, 5 or below, if we can keep it to 5 or below, the Cougars, I'll say, will be victorious in this third set here, Parker.
Yeah, and that was probably one of the bigger statistics when looking at the box score. The 18 errors total, not a good look for the Cougars as set 3 about underway. Real quick look at the box score. The kill leader for Marian is Serena Pahowski with 6 kills overall, and the Cougars have 3 players with 4 kills. That's Acacia Brown, Lily Hunt, and Grace Haywood. All 3 of those players going to have to step up big time here in set number 3 as the Cougars try to avoid going over against conference opponent Marian University. We mentioned the conference standings. The Sabres standing at 7th in the conference. Meanwhile, the Cougars are at 9th, still fighting for a spot in that NAC tournament. Looking to turn things around here in Geisman Gymnasium. Set number 3 about underway, and it looks like Marian will be serving first, and handling the service duties is the libero, number 12, Reagan Jessica. Now Jessica preparing for the serve. It is up and over. That's played by Rolthal. And now Haywood just sends that one over. Played by Jessica. And now Vernango setting up Hunt. And the Cougars strike first here in set 3.
And I almost said it before the match that another key to this third set was going to be Lily Hunt. Heading in, she had 8 attacks and 4 kills, and that was the best percentage on the team. As we see in her first attempt there, she's going to get another kill. So that's up to 9 attempts with 5 kills. So really strong percentage and ratio there for the Cougars sophomore, number 10, Lily Hunt, as we see a service ace by number 12, Grace Haywood.
And now the Cougars with a quick 2-0 lead. And for the first time, wanted to mention, we see number 5, Kate Foley, enter the game for the Cougars, playing on that front line as the serve from Haywood is over. And good play by Rothel. But that will result in a Marian point as they get their first point here in the third set.
It was a good dig there by the freshman libero, Bethany Rothel. Unfortunately, a little miscommunication there between Foley and Hunt.
As now the attack from Haywood, that goes right off of the hand of Merrill. Marian not able to get to it. That is clean. The Cougars now extending their lead 3-1. As we see Acacia Brown back into the game, she will replace number 6, Bethany Rothel. As now Marian trying to get it over, and that is Bull who is able to get it over for the Sabres. And now Foley with the attack. Played by Marian. They keep it alive. The attack from Pahowski. Cougars not able to get to it, and Marian trailing 3-2. Now Rothel back into the game for the Cougars. But set to serve number 27, Lauren Massey for the Sabres. That's played by Foley. Set up for Brown, and Brown is going to get the kill. Looks like number 12, Reagan Jessica, had a chance at playing it. She wasn't able to get under it, and now that's another kill for Brown.
The Cougars now are in a positive hitting percentage, Parker. That's something we've been keeping track of all night here.
And now they're in a 400 hitting percentage here in the third set, so a good start for the team. As now the attack from Stitch, played by Haywood. The Cougars not able to get it over. So Marian trying to retake the lead. They trail by 1, however, 4-3. And now Merrill will serve for the Sabres. Excuse me, that is Pahowski. As Foley tips that one over. Looks like it was like tiptoeing across that line, but ultimately out of bounds. And Marian evens things up at 4.
It'll be Pahowski again here, left to right on your screen. Dug by Rolthel.
And now the attack from Brown hits inside before that back service line. So the Cougars retaking the lead, 5-4. Good start for the team, but they just need to keep their foot on the gas.
Absolutely. Kind of a similar start here to what we saw in the second set. So if you're the Cougars here, you'd like to not go as much 1-to-1 back and forth. See if you can steal a couple here and take a 3 or 4 point lead from Marian here. That'll tie it up at 5 now.
After the 2-touch call on the Cougars. So now number 9, Anna Tapia, to serve for Marian. That is overplayed by Livesey. The setup for Brown. Big block up front. That was number 16, Haley Bartels, and number 4, Haley Stitch. The duo combining on the big block off the attack from Brown. So Marian taking the lead 6-5. Now looks like we had a little sweat on the floor as Vernengo cleaning that one up for the Cougars. But Marian leading CUC 6-5 as number 9, Anna Tapia, back to serve once again. The serve is up and over, played by Rolthel. And now Vernengo, the setup for Haywood, played by the Sabres. As Jessica sends that one over. Haywood, another attack, too strong. We've seen a couple attack errors from her, but Marian extending their lead by 2, 7-5.
Yeah, Haywood, usually a really steady player for the Cougars tonight. Her stat line right now, she's got 5 kills with 7 errors. She does also have 6 digs for the Cougars.
Very unusual numbers by the senior. But CUC getting the last point, trailing by 1 as Bethany Rolthel back to serve for the Maroon and Gold. That's played by Stitch. Now sent over by Bartels. Now the strong attack from Livesey, somehow able to be played by Marian as Merrill able to get the kill. They lead the Cougars 8-6. Now Stitch, back to serve once again, the sophomore out of Cuba City, Wisconsin. Her serve is up and over, played by Haywood. Vernengo setting up Hunt. Big block once again. Again, that was Bartels who was able to get a piece of it, in addition to number 22, Olivia Buell. Standout freshman who we talked about in the pregame show. As Vernengo serve is over. And now Merrill, the attack. Sabres leading the Cougars by 2.
We've seen a lot of these attempts defensively by the Cougars come up just a little bit short, and so maybe kind of hard to tell the reasoning for that, but we'll see if maybe the Cougars take a few inches up forward here defensively.
And now that's played by Rolthel off of the Marian serve. Haywood just sends that one over for CUC, and now the attack from Merrill. Haywood going to return an attack of her own. Nice volley going on. Block up front. And that's going to result in a CUC point, trying to claw back into the driver's seat. They trail by 1. Sabres leading 9-8 as Haywood back to serve. And that's played by Jessica. Mary not able to get it over. Cougars even things up at 9. And now Haywood back to serve once again. She leads the team in service aces, also leads in service errors. She's back to serve again for the Cougars as her serve is over. Marian not able to play it. Believe that is going to be a service ace for Grace Haywood.
And that's the second of the set. And like we mentioned last set, Cougars third in the conference in service aces at 2.26. So that is 2 already here early. We'll see if they can get a third.
She exchanges that for a service error, which evens things up back at 10 after CUC had taken the lead 10-9. The service error from Grace Haywood. So now Caitlin Merrill, as Vernango sets up Foley. Now the attack from Buell. Vernango setting up Haywood in the back line. Marian still able to play it. And now Merrill setting up Dickin. Big block up front by Mule and Pahowski.
That ball is going to fall out of bounds, so it'll be the Cougar point here. We're going to see Lily Hunt, the sophomore, to serve for the Cougars now.
Let's see what she's able to do as the Cougars leading the Sabres 11-2. That was off the arms of Jessica, but Marian able to get it over. Nice play by Hunt as Vernango sends that one over. And now a sneaky attack from Tapia, but it goes out of bounds. So that's going to be a Cougar point. They lead Marian 12-10.
And that's what you need to do for the Cougars. Put some pressure on, take advantage of Marian mistakes, and see if you can extend this lead just a little bit more, make it 13 or 14-10 here for the Cougars. And there's 13-10 right there. Another Marian mistake the Cougars can capitalize on.
The attack error from Serena Pahowski results in the 13th point for the Cougars as Hunt's still back there serving. Her serve, a line drive over the net. Hit from the back line by Merrill. So Marian's going to stop the bleeding for a moment as they get their 11th point, and that'll send serving specialist Lauren Massey back to serve for the Sabres. That serve is up and over, played by Foley as Vernango setting up Foley, who gets the attack, but Marian able to play it. The tip by Pahowski, and now Dickin. Rally still going on, but Stitch is going to have the final say as she sent a floater over the hit in that sweet spot, pulling the Sabres within 1.
Yeah, really heads-up play there, knowing where the Cougars were at defensively. Blocks were up, but the back row players were just a little bit deep.
And now big block by Dickin and Brown as Pahowski too strong. So the Cougars still hanging on to their lead. They lead by 2, 14-12 here in set 3.
Yeah, good communication there by the Cougars back line there. All agreeing that ball was headed out of bounds, and everybody stands free and lets it sail right out of bounds for a Cougar point.
And now Marian, the tip by Brown up front. Vernango setting up Foley. Foley with the attack, squeaks inside for the kill. CUC building off their lead. They now lead the Sabres by 3. As now Eve Dickin back to serve. That's played by Stitch. Tapia sets up Stitch. Nice play by Dickin. And now Massey setting up Pahowski. Haywood not able to play it. That's the 13th point for the Sabres. They trail 15-13.
Serena Pahowski is the kill leader for both teams tonight. That was her 8th right there. Nobody else even has 7, so she leads by a good number there.
As Marian getting another kill, not exactly sure who that was. Believe that might have been Haley Bartels. But that'll send Pahowski back to serve as the Sabres trailing by 1. Haywood has to come up to get under it. Now Brown sends it over for the Cougars. Tapia setting up Bartels, and Bartels has the hot hand right now. It will even things at 15 apiece.
And that's 3 straight kills right there for Marian, kind of back to back to back. Cougars were up by 3, and now we're even at 15, so we'll see if Concordia can kind of level this one back out, maybe get a kill of their own here
Now Foley, but that was tipped over by Tapia, and Marian is rolling here in set 3. Now 4 straight kills. That's going to force head coach Andrew Palmer to use another timeout. Marian leading the Cougars 16-15, 4 straight kills for the Sabres. We'll be back for more third set action. You're listening to the Cougar Sports Network.
Fans, thanks for tuning in to today's game. For more information about the women's volleyball program, head to CUCougars.com. We hope to see you at our next game.
We're back for the remainder of set number 3. Marian taking the lead over the Cougars. We saw at one point that CUC was leading 15-12, but then the Sabres responded with a 4-0 run, 4 straight kills for the Sabres, and they now lead 16-15.
Yeah, 4 straight kills for the Sabres there, and it'll be Bahowski here to serve once again.
And that's Fernango going to set up Brown. Cross court, that's played by Pahowski. Now Tapia setting up Stitch. Fernango once again to Foley. Blocked up front by the Sabres. We're still going as Foley able to somehow play that one. Brown just has to send it over. Now Tapia setting up Bartels. Foley responds with an attack of her own. Tapia, Stitch. Out of bounds, CUC. Even things at 16 apiece.
Another really heads-up play there, again by the freshman libero. She came sliding towards our sideline here, pulled back at the last minute. The ball sails out of bounds, and we're going to get another freshman here. This is Rachel Livesey.
And now the dig from Jessica. Tapia setting up Stitch. Dickin not able to get to it. It looks like it did squeak in bounds. From our viewpoint up here, it looked like it might have been out of bounds, but Marian takes the lead 17-16 as Anna Tapia back to serve. Her serve is over. That's played by Rothel. Brown. Nice play by Brown as Lauren Massey not able to get under it. And now CUC with a good start coming out of the timeout break as Brown gets another kill, and that'll send Bethany Rothel back to serve.
Yeah, it looked like a fairly casual swing. I'm not sure she even jumped on that last one from Acacia Brown there. It worked out at the end. It was a hard swing nonetheless and found space in the Marian defense.
And now Marian retaking the lead 18-17 as Haley Stitch back to serve for the Sabres. Stitch, her serve is up and over, played by Rothel. Vernango setting up Haywood. Good play by Stitch to able to get under it. Vernango setting up Hunt now. Hunt too strong, but it looks like it was tipped off of the outstretched arms of Stitch. So the Cougars are going to get the point, and they even things at 18.
Yeah, and this is the best we've seen the Cougars swing so far tonight. They're up to 156 in their hitting percentage. 8 kills so far here already in this third set.
And now Vernango setting up Haywood. That's played by Jessica. Nice play by Livesey to keep it alive. Dickin. Too strong of an attack. And Marian retaking the lead, 19-18. Seen several lead changes, several ties in set 3, just like set 2.
Just like set 2. But this was kind of the range here where Marian pulled away in set 2, and it ended up being 22-19 in favor of the Sabres. So these next couple points can be really crucial here for the Cougars to not let that happen once again.
The Cougars have gotten better every set. just a slow start really put the Cougars behind the 8 ball. But now the Sabres trying to close things out, get the sweep. CUC trying to stay alive as the attack from Hunt. And now Buell gets the kill. And Marian leading 20-18. Olivia Buell, the freshman from Mazomanie, Wisconsin, had something to say about that. And now a service error from number 12, Reagan Jessica. Cougars trailing by 1 as Haywood back to serve.
Yeah, Cougars could use a couple points here to go on a run, tie it up at 20, maybe even take a 21-20 lead. You'd feel a little bit more comfortable.
That's played by Marian as Tapia setting up Pahowski. Vernango able to get under it. Rothel setting up Dickin. Marian not able to get to that one as it goes into home side bleachers. We're now even at 20. So, Troy, you mentioned that in set 2, this was the point where Marian started to pull away, but the Cougars are sticking around, making things interesting.
Absolutely, and it looks like on pace right now we're going to see some extra volleyball here in this third set. If we've gone back and forth pretty much since the very first point of this game, it'll be Marian now that's going to one up and go 21-20 on the Cougars. We'll see if the Cougars can respond and tie it back at 21.
The service error from Grace Haywood, and now Merrill to serve. That's played by Vernango, sets up Dickin, played by Marian. Tapia. And now the attack error from Caitlin Merrill. CUC evens things up at 21. And Troy, you're right, we are on pace for some extra volleyball.
And nobody would be complaining. I think it's still raining outside, so if we could play some volleyball till the rain passes, that might be cool.
That'd be awesome for sure. Tapia setting up Buell. Too strong of an attack. CUC now with the lead, 22-21. Here in set 3, CUC needing 3 points to close this out as Lily Hunt, the sophomore, back to serve. Line drive serve over the net. Tapia setting up Pahowski, blocked up front. But it looks like Marian is going to get the point. It will even things at 22 apiece as Lauren Massey checks back in to handle serving duties for the Sabres.
Yeah, that was one of those where the Cougars' hands were up on the block, unfortunately too far away from the net. And so what happens is when that ball makes contact with the Cougar blocker, it falls straight down away from the net and onto the Cougars' pad there.
So now Haywood, the reception error, not able to get under that one. And Massey, her second straight serve. Vernango, Rothel just has to send it over. Massey. Now back to Tapia, who sets up Pahowski. Pahowski lays down the hammer, and now it's set point for Marian. They lead CUC 24-22.
Yeah, they run that little back set and loop swing there often, and they run it well. Serena Pahowski featured there.
Foley keeps the Cougars alive a moment longer as she gets the kill. She's made her presence felt ever since she entered the game early in set 3. Foley now with 2 kills of her own and a timeout called. I believe that was by Marian. We're going to go ahead and keep it here. So the Cougars trailing 24-23. They try to climb their way back in here. Marian going to try to close this out. What do the Cougars have to do to kind of flip the script and take set 3?
Well, they're going to come out here, and you just gotta keep your foot on the gas, right? You don't have time for mistakes at this point because one mistake here will end not only the set, but it will end the evening for the Cougars in their last home game of the year. And so they got to play clean volleyball coming out from the serve right away. No errors from here on out for the Cougars. You just got to make Marian earn this one, right? You talk about it in really all the sports. You want to put the pressure on the other team and make them earn it. Make them beat you, right? You don't want to give it to them. And making an error right here would simply be giving Marian a win over the Cougars tonight. So if you're Concordia coming out of the timeout, you're only thinking they have to beat us. We are not going to beat ourselves right now. They've got to beat us.
And the Cougars have been making Marian earn it ever since the end of set 1 as Eve Dickin back to serve for the Cougars. They're trying to stick around. It's do or die for the Cougars. Brown the kill. Evens things at 24. Troy, we're getting some extra volleyball.
We are, and that's what Acacia Brown does so well there. She's got really long arms right there in the middle for the Cougars. She's able to reach up and just tip that one right over the Marian blocker. Ties this game at 24.
Tapia setting up Pahowski. Big block up front. That's Acacia Brown and Eve Dickin. And now Merrill has to send that over. Vernango setting up Brown. Marian able to get under it. And now Stitch dangles along the top of the net. Now back to Pahowski. Too strong of an attack, but it actually looks like it might have been tipped by Eve Dickin. So now we're back at set point as Marian leads 25-24. We hear the boos flowing from the crowd here in Geisman.
It wouldn't be a great volleyball match if we don't have a little bit of controversy. Just as we end this one, we see Coach Palmer really furious in the face of our down court referee here tonight. But the call is not going to change. It's going to be Marian to serve.
As that's played by Foley. Haywood back to Foley. The attack able to be played by Marian. The attack from number 16, Haley Bartels, ends it. Marian gets the sweep over the Cougars. 3-0 as they take set number 3. 26-24, getting some extra volleyball. And it's just a tough way to go out if you're the Cougars.
Yeah, the Cougars played, like you said, Parker, a little bit earlier in the broadcast, much better as the day went on. They were off to a rough start in the first set. They were down 7-1 early, climbed their way back a little bit, played much better in the second set, kind of a back and forth affair before losing it late in the second set. And then really in this third set, another back and forth set there as we headed to extra volleyball. But in the end, it's Marian pulling away from the Cougars late in set number 3 and completing the sweep of Concordia here tonight.
And now with the loss, the Cougars gonna drop to 10-14, 4-7 in the conference, and with the win, Marian going to improve to 14-10 to 6-5 in the conference. Real quick, we'll take a look at the box score and the numbers that stick out to me. 35 kills by Marian. They were in a positive hitting percentage throughout the entire game. 16 errors by the Sabres, and for the Cougars, 29 total kills, but 22 errors. Those errors really were costly.
Yeah, and at one point, kind of midway early in the third set, the Cougars did have more errors than they had kills, and so that's something you might focus on here going forward for the Cougars. You know, anytime that kill number is close to the error number, it's a rough night, and it ended up being a positive number, 29-22 killed to errors. The Cougars did finish in a positive hitting percentage with 182. After the second set, we saw them at negative .44, and so they did play a much cleaner third set. Like I mentioned earlier, Parker, the Cougars needed to keep their errors under 5 if they wanted a chance. In the third set, they had it at 4, so definitely under 5 there. And as we saw, it correlated to the best match that they played all evening. But that 22 numbers compared to Marian 16 is the difference in tonight's match.
A real quick look ahead for both teams. Marian is going to be back at home in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, as they are set to host Illinois Tech on Saturday, October 28th. That game is set to start at noon, and for the Cougars, they will be on the road Saturday at Lakeland University. That game also set to start at noon as well. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our student workers who were able to make this broadcast possible. Working the scoreboard, Chandler Kurt, our libero tracker, Wyatt McLaughlin, our spotter, Emily Balaban. Working the camera, Abby Kulig, our producer, Sydney Lloyd, and our student photographer, Sabre Miller, our other producer, Janie Turnes. We are under the direction of Cindy Palaskis-Laher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. But as for me and my partner, Troy Prattley, I am Parker Kelly signing off. We're wanting to wish you all a good night and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.